Imagine a world where the only thing faster than a predator's sprint is the rot of human fear. They say a great civilization isn't conquered from the outside until it has already destroyed itself from within. What if your entire existence, your family, your forest, and your future, was erased in a single morning by forces that trade in human life? Most would give up, but for one man, the end of his world was the beginning of a hunt that would change history. This is a story of a primal struggle and a father's promise that refuses to break even when the world is screaming. We begin in an ancient green silence, where life is measured by the tracks in the mud and the strength of the tribe. Here, the canopy is a cathedral, and every rustle tells a story of survival. Our protagonist is a young provider, whose lineage is etched into the very trees he climbs. He lives with his father, a wise elder who teaches him that the forest gives much, provided you respect its boundaries. They share a humorous ritual after a successful hunt that masks the deep bond they share, but the laughter is cut short when they encounter refugees. These are broken, hollow-eyed people fleeing a terror they can't name. His father gives a chilling warning. Fear is a sickness. Strike it from your heart. Do not bring it into our village. But how do you ignore a sickness that is already at your gates? The night is heavy. An elder tells a story of a hunger that consumes the world, taking the sight of the birds and the strength of the predators, yet remaining perpetually empty. It is a prophetic warning of the greed coming to claim them. Our lead lies awake, sensing the shift in the wind. He feels the forest holding its breath. He doesn't know it yet, but the sun rising tomorrow will be the last one he sees as a free man. The peace of the village is a fragile glass ornament, and the hammers are already swinging. As the first light touches the canopy, the silence is shattered by a sound that doesn't belong to the animals. It is the sound of metal, of shouting, and of the absolute end of their era. The dawn brings fire. A disciplined force of raiders descends on the village, moving with a terrifying precision. These are professional collectors of souls. They move through the huts like a scythe through wheat, capturing the young while casting aside the elderly. In the chaos, our protagonist manages to lead his pregnant wife and son to a natural limestone pit hidden in the earth. It is a vertical drop, a dark prison, but it is the only place the raider's eyes will not reach. He lowers them down with a vine, whispering a single, iron-clad vow: "Do not fear. I am with you always. I will return to pull you from this dark." This promise becomes his pulse as he is dragged back into the smoke. He fights with the desperation of a cornered animal, but the numbers overwhelm him. He watches in helpless fury as his father is confronted by the leader of the raiders. There is no mercy. His father is silenced forever. The raiders give our lead a name meant to mock him, calling him a man who is almost nothing, but they do not realize that he is still breathing. The march away from his home is a descent into madness. The captives are tethered by heavy wooden yokes, forced to walk through a landscape being systematically destroyed. They pass scorched earth, where trees have been cleared to feed the machines of a distant city. The humidity is a weight, the thirst is a blade. Our lead watches his friend's spirits break, yet he keeps his eyes on the ground, memorizing the terrain and the tracks. He is no longer just a villager. He is a map maker and a tactician. He knows that every mile they walk away from that pit is a mile he must run back. The raiders treat their human cargo like livestock, unaware they have captured a man who has already struck fear from his heart. They are taking him to a place of stone and blood, but he is bringing the forest with him. The road to the city is paved with suffering, but his promise is the one thing they cannot bind. The horizon changes from green to gray as they arrive at the stone city. It is a monumental achievement built on the broken. Pyramids rise like jagged teeth, and the air is thick with lime and ancient dust. This civilization is in its final death throes. A plague ravages the people, and the leaders have turned to the red ritual to save themselves. They believe the sun requires a dark harvest to keep burning. Our lead is painted in the color of the offering, a haunting blue, and led through a marketplace where people are sold as tools. He sees the emptiness in the city dwellers, a hunger no amount of stone can satisfy. The ascent up the Great Pyramid is a slow climb toward the altar. From this height, he can see the vastness of the world, but his heart is still in the dark pit. He is laid across the stone, the obsidian blade catching the light. But as the blade is raised, the universe intervenes. A shadow eats the sun. Midday turns into a ghostly twilight. The crowd screams in terror, believing the deity has turned away. It is the blackness of day, prophesied in the forest. This chaos creates a reprieve. The high priest claims the deity is sated, and the captives are hurried off the altar to be cleared away by the warriors. The reprieve is temporary. He is handed over to the lead raider for a final game. They are taken to a dusty field on the edge of the city. Beyond the field lies the jungle. The raider gives a cruel choice: run for the trees while warriors use them as targets. Our protagonist realizes survival is no longer luck, but will. He prepares for the sprint of a lifetime, eyes locked on the green sanctuary. He isn't running from the city, he is running toward the family he hid in the earth. The dust of the field is the last thing between him and the home he was stolen from. The hunt has officially begun, but the roles are about to shift. The field becomes a graveyard. The captives run, but the arrows are too accurate. When it is his turn, our protagonist hunts the terrain. He uses the fallen as cover and moves with an unpredictable grace. A spear grazes his side, but he does not slow down. He reaches the woods and encounters the raider's son. In a desperate struggle, he overcomes the young warrior, vanishing into the undergrowth. The raider's roar of grief echoes through the trees, turning the game into a vendetta. Now, the roles are reversed. The protagonist is back in his element. He reaches a thundering waterfall and takes a leap of faith into the churning water below. He emerges battered but transformed. He stands on the shore, skin coated in thick, black mud. This is his rebirth. He looks up at the warriors and shouts his defiance. He proclaims that this forest belongs to his people, that his father hunted here before him, and that he is no longer afraid. He is no longer the victim painted blue. He has become the apex predator. He begins to prepare the ground, turning the plants and insects into his army. The warriors descend, but they are no longer in control. One by one, they are picked off by traps from the trees. A hive of stinging insects is triggered. Sharpened stakes fly through the air. He moves like a shadow, his scent masked by the mud. He is picking apart the raiders' discipline, replacing it with the same rotting fear they once brought to his village. He is the ghost in the leaves, but the clock is ticking. The storm has arrived, and the limestone pit is filling with rainwater. He must finish this final hunt before the forest claims the lives of those he is trying to save. Every second spent eliminating a raider is a second his family spends fighting the rising tide. He is no longer just surviving, he is protecting the future. The final confrontation is coming, and only one will leave these woods alive. The confrontation with the lead raider happens as rain turns the earth into a swamp. It is a primal encounter. The raider fights with the weight of an empire, but the protagonist fights with the light of a promise. He leads the raider into a bog that swallows the armored warrior whole. The cycle of violence reaches its conclusion in the mud. The protagonist stands alone, the last of his tribe, gasping for air as the remaining pursuers close in. He runs toward the coast, the sound of the ocean providing a new rhythm. He bursts onto the sand, expecting one last fight, but finds a sight that stops the world. Floating in the bay are giant wooden towers with white wings. Strange men in metal armor are rowing toward the shore. It is the arrival of a new world, a force far more destructive than the stone city. The remaining raiders are so captivated by the sight that they completely lose interest in their prey. They walk toward the water, drawn to the strangers like moths to a flame. Our protagonist sees his chance. He doesn't go to the ships. He remembers the warning about fear. He realizes these strangers are just another version of the hunger that destroyed his home. He turns his back on the beach and disappears into the green. He reaches the pit just as the water reaches his wife's chin. He hauls his family out of the dark and into the light. What would you have done on that beach? Drop your questions below and follow for the next hunt.